If he's comfortable, he's complacent. And I don't say that to scare you. I say that because maybe nobody told you the truth about how attraction actually works in a long-term relationship. You've been showing up, loving hard, giving your time, your energy, your patience, and yet somehow he's the one who's relaxed, while you're the one wondering if he still sees you the way he used to. Here's what's really happening. When a man believes that you're not going anywhere no matter what, he stops doing the things that won him you in the first place. Not because he's evil, not even because he stopped caring, but because the human brain doesn't fight to keep what it believes it can never lose. That's not manipulation. That's psychology. So today, I'm giving you 7 things, grounded in real relationships, science, and years of counseling couples, that quietly shift the dynamic. Not to play games, not to be petty, but to remind him at a cellular level that you are a choice he has to keep earning. Because a man who has never feared losing you has never fully valued you. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you're going to understand exactly why and exactly what to do about it. Let me describe you for a second. You're not the woman who stopped trying. You didn't let yourself go. You're not bitter. You're not cold. You're not difficult. If anything, you've been too easy to be with, too available, too accommodating, too quick to forgive, too slow to require more. And somehow, that's the problem. You did everything right by love standards. But somewhere along the way, he stopped meeting you at the level you deserve. The texts got shorter. The effort got quieter. Date nights became assumption. And the worst part? He doesn't even seem to notice the gap. Because from where he's standing, everything is fine. But everything is not fine. Here's what I want you to understand. The issue is not that he fell out of love with you. Most of the time, that's not even close to what's happening. The real issue is that he has become certain of you. And certainty in the wrong hands kills desire. Think about it. When he first met you, he wasn't sure he had you. So, he showed up. He called, he planned, he tried. Not because you asked him to, but because he was afraid of losing the chance. That fear, that healthy, motivating fear of loss, it's gone now. And your job, not as a game player, but as a woman who knows her worth, is to bring it back. Not by threatening him, not by manufacturing drama, but by making some very quiet, very powerful shifts in how you show up for yourself. These are not tricks. These are not manipulation tactics. Every single one of these is rooted in self-respect, emotional intelligence, and a deep understanding of how men experience attraction and value in a relationship. Let's go. Number 1. Stop being so predictably available. There's a difference between being dependable and being on demand. Dependable means he knows you're his partner and you show up when it matters. On demand means he texts at 10 p.m. and you rearrange your entire evening. On demand means you cancel your plans because he suddenly wants to spend time together. On demand means you are always the one who adjusts. When you are that available, you train him to believe that your time has no value. And people, not just men, people do not treasure what they believe is unlimited. Start honoring your own schedule like it matters, because it does. When you're busy, be busy. When you have plans, keep them. You're not punishing him. You're showing him that your time is something worth wanting. A man who has to fit into your life will value his place in it far more than a man who knows he can have it whenever he wants. Number 2, reconnect with your own life. At some point in many relationships, women slowly, without even realizing it, make the relationship their entire world. The girls' trips get fewer. The hobbies get quieter. The friendships that used to light you up start taking a back seat. And before long, he is your primary source of joy, identity, and purpose. That's not love. That's dependency. And dependency is not attractive. Not to a high-value man who wants a partner, not a project. Pick up what you put down. The friendships, the hobby, the class you've been meaning to take, the trip you keep postponing. Not to make him jealous, but because you need to be full. A woman who has a life that fulfills her is magnetic. She brings energy to the relationship instead of drawing all her energy from it. When he sees you thriving with or without him in the room, something shifts in him. He starts to realize, maybe for the first time in a while, that you are not a guaranteed fixture. You are a woman with a world, and he either rises to be part of it, or he risks being left out of it. Number 3, let your happiness stop depending on his mood. A lot of women don't realize they've fallen into this pattern until they're deep in it. He comes around in a bad mood, and your whole evening shifts. He goes quiet, and you spend the next hour trying to fix it. He's distant, and suddenly you're anxious, second-guessing, replaying conversations, wondering what you did wrong. What you've accidentally done is handed him the remote control to your emotional state. And once a man, consciously or not, realizes he controls how you feel, he loses a level of respect for you, not because he's cruel, but because people instinctively respect those who cannot be easily destabilized. Learn to maintain your own emotional baseline regardless of his mood. If he's in a funk, acknowledge it, show concern, ask what happened and give him space. Then go live your evening. Read your book, call your friend, cook the meal you've been wanting to try. Don't chase his mood. Don't shrink into worry. When he sees that his emotional weather doesn't control your internal climate, he will notice. And he will respect you more for it than you know. Number 4, have standards and hold on to them. Standards that you don't enforce aren't standards. They're suggestions. And men, especially men who love you, will unconsciously test the edges of what you tolerate. Not because they're monsters, but because humans expand into whatever space they're allowed to fill. If you say something bothers you and then accept it anyway, you haven't communicated a boundary. You've communicated that your boundaries are negotiable. When something is not okay, say it once, clearly, calmly, without a monologue, and then let your actions back it up. Not with ultimatums and drama, with quiet, consistent self-respect. The woman who enforces her standards without emotional explosion is terrifying to lose, because a man knows she means what she says. And there is something deeply attractive about a woman who respects herself enough to require respect from others. Number 5, stop chasing reassurance. This one is hard to hear, but it's one of the most important. When you constantly ask, "Are we okay?" or "Do you still love me?" or "Why have you been so distant?" you are not wrong for having those needs. Your needs are valid, but the way you're meeting them is actually making the problem worse. Here's why. Every time you chase reassurance from him, you signal that your sense of security lives inside him. And the moment your security lives inside another person, you give them enormous, sometimes unconscious, power over you. It also puts him in the exhausting position of being responsible for your emotional stability, which over time breeds resentment, not closeness. Build your reassurance from the inside out. Therapy, journaling, prayer, honest conversations with trusted friends. A relationship with yourself that is so solid that you don't need him to constantly confirm your worth. And here's what happens when you stop chasing it. Paradoxically, he starts offering it freely, because your calm confidence signals to him that you don't need him to stay, which makes him want to. Number 6, let him see that other people value you, not by flirting, not by manufacturing jealousy. That's manipulation, and it always backfires. But here's the truth. Social proof is real, and it works in relationships too. When he sees other people, your colleagues, your friends, strangers, treating you like the remarkable woman you are, it recalibrates his perception. When your phone lights up with people who want your time and attention. When you walk into a room and you're received well. When your opinion is sought, your laugh is infectious, your presence is magnetic. He is reminded that you are not just his girlfriend or his wife. You are a woman that the world also wants access to. Invest in your social life. Build your community. Show up in spaces where you are celebrated. Not to make him panic, but because a full social life is a sign of a healthy, high-value person. And the side effect is that it quietly reminds him that keeping you is a privilege, not a given. Number 7, become genuinely comfortable with the idea of walking away. This is the deepest one. And I saved it for last, because it's the one that changes everything. There is a version of you that has stayed past the point of peace because the alternative felt like failure, or loneliness, or too much pain to process. And so, you've made yourself smaller, quieter, more tolerant, all to avoid the terrifying thought of what happens if this ends. He can feel that. Men are more emotionally perceptive than we give them credit for. And when he senses that you will stay no matter what, he stops working to make you want to stay. Do the real internal work of getting to a place where you genuinely know, in your bones, that you will be okay if this relationship ends. Not because you want it to end, but because a woman who knows she can survive without him is a woman no man wants to lose. This is not a threat. You don't say it, you don't perform it, you become it. And when that shift happens inside you, something shifts in how he sees you. Because he can no longer take your presence for granted. Because your presence is no longer guaranteed by your fear. That's the most powerful thing you will ever offer a relationship. Not desperation, not neediness, not ultimatums. Just a woman who knows her worth. Completely, quietly, unshakably. Now I need to tell you something, and I need you to receive it fully before this video ends. Everything I just gave you works. Every single one of those 7 things will shift the dynamic in your relationship. I've seen it happen in my counseling room more times than I can count. But if you walk away from this video thinking, I now have 7 tools to make him panic, you've missed the most important part. Because panic is not the goal. You are the goal. Here's the deeper truth underneath all 7 of those ways. Not one of them is about him. Not really. They're all about you returning to yourself. Filling your own life, holding your own standards, owning your own emotional stability, knowing your own worth. The panic, if it comes, is just a signal. It's his nervous system waking up to something it almost lost. But the real transformation isn't what happens in him. It's what happens in you when you stop organizing your entire life around someone else's comfort. I've sat with women who implemented strategies to save their relationship, and in the process, they saved themselves. They became clearer, calmer, more grounded, more joyful. And yes, their men noticed, but more importantly, they noticed. And they stopped being willing to accept less than they deserved. That is the secret underneath the secrets. A man panics about losing a woman he perceives as rare. And what makes a woman rare is not mystery for mystery's sake. What makes a woman rare is that she is completely at home in herself. She knows what she brings. She knows what she requires. She loves deeply, but she doesn't lose herself in that love. She is warm, but she is not desperate. She is committed, but she is not captive. That woman is not easy to replace, and he knows it. So yes, use these 7 ways, but use them because you believe you deserve better. Use them because you are done outsourcing your value to someone else's validation. Use them because the most powerful version of you has been waiting, quietly, patiently, for you to come back to her. And when you do, he won't just panic about losing you. He'll wake up every single day grateful he didn't. You were never the problem. You just forgot, somewhere between loving him and losing yourself, that you were always the prize. Not because you're perfect, not because relationships don't require compromise and sacrifice and showing up even when it's hard. They do. But there is a version of showing up that costs you nothing of yourself. And there is a version that costs you everything. And for too long, you've been paying a price that was never yours to pay. So go back to your life. Reclaim your time. Hold your standards. Rebuild your world, not to punish him, but to honor yourself. And watch what happens. Because a man who truly loves you will rise. And a man who doesn't, you'll finally have the clarity and the strength to let him go. That's the real win, not his panic. Your power. If this video spoke to something you've been carrying, I need you to do 3 things right now. First, drop a comment below and tell me which of the 7 ways hit you the hardest. I read every single one. Second, share this video with a woman in your life who needs to hear it. You might save her years of shrinking herself for someone who never deserved that version of her. And third, subscribe and hit the bell, because every week I bring you the kind of relationship truth that most people are too afraid to say out loud. I'll see you in the next one.